This is Digivation Network.
Hello, I welcome you to this edition of the show, Digivation Network, Africa's first and leading ICT and digital innovation program on television. I am Omoye Haza, standing in for Bayero Agabi.
This is Digivation Network.
In this edition, with the year coming to an end, there is excitement, and there were a lot of songs that captivate body and soul in 2022. Spotify shares the most streamed song on its platform, and our special report on financial inclusion and the new policy of the new Naira banknote will deepen and drive entrenched cashless policy. But first is the issue that made news during the week. Stay with us. Uber has announced to offer 50% on rides book, with the app going to designated permanent voters card PVC collection centers in Lagos, Abuja and Port Harcourt ahead of Nigeria's general election in February 2023. The announcement comes at a time when the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has highlighted that over 20 million PVCs are yet to be collected nationwide out of 84 million registered PVCs. The promotion will apply on weekdays between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. starting from 15th December for a period of 5 weeks. The country manager, Uber Nigeria, Tokpe Akinwumi, believes that mobility shouldn't be a barrier in allowing people to take part in such an important civic exercise as voting in the general elections, and riders as possible will take advantage of promotional fares to collect their PVCs. Uber is passionate about helping people move around the city with ease and as a result understands safety to ensure that riders and drivers feel safe whenever they take a trip on the platform. Visa, a payment technology giant, set to invest $1 billion in its business across Africa in the next 5 years to promote the adoption of digital payments in the region. The move is targeted to provide individuals and merchants with additional access to digital payments. Visa's chairman and CEO, Alfred Keller Jr., made the pledge during the U.S.-Africa Business Forum alongside the just concluded U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. The pledge will further scale Visa operations in Africa and deepen collaboration with strategic partners, including governments, financial institutions, mobile network operators, fintechs in Nigeria and other African countries.
I had the chance, after travel being disrupted in August, to visit Nigeria and the DRC. And that visit reinforced for me the level of entrepreneurship, innovation, and digitization that's happening across the continent. We've been in Africa for about 5 decades. Today, there's about 100 million people in Africa with Visa cards and about 2 million places that they're accepted. And we got there through lots of great partnerships, including that with Tony's bank, United Bank of Africa. And by the way, I had an opportunity to visit with Tony, and he was kind enough to have me at his home in my trip to Nigeria.
The chairman of the United Bank of Africa, UBA, Tony Elumelu, sees obstacles as a factor that stand against Africa, but believes Africa can be more with collaborative efforts.
The most or has significant trade barriers, discriminations, even to date. Africa can be the breadbasket of the world. Africa can do a whole lot more for the world and for itself. But these obstacles we see need to be addressed. We see internal obstacles within Africa. We also see external obstacles. We need to look at our tariffs again, structure. We need to work together collaboratively to turn Africa into a manufacturing center. Africa can do a lot more than it's doing today.
The investment also intends to support financial inclusion in Africa, where around 500 million people are estimated to be excluded from the formal financial system. Over the years, Visa has continued growing investment in Africa through new innovations and solutions and programs that are directly supporting financial inclusion. Share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network.
Hero Agabi, welcome you to this new ride, a digital ride that takes you into the lifestyle experience of innovation, tech impact, and new business frontiers. This is Digivation Network. On a weekly basis, we keep you well informed of developments and trends. Now the tech ecosystem is impacting politics, business, public and private enterprise management, plus how the new digital life can transform your business. I am Bayero Agabi. Join us.
If you're just joining us, this is Digivation Network, your first and leading ICT and digital innovation program on television. For details, please log on to www.digivationnetwork.com or watch us on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network, or better still, text the number on your screen. Excitement drawn near, and even as 2022 comes to an end, there are a lot of songs that captivate body and soul in 2022, and Spotify lists 10 most streamed songs on its platform. Do you want to know who takes the lead? Let's show you. As the year comes to an end, excitement drawn near, even with the whole baggages 2022 came with. But there were a lot of songs that captivate body and soul in 2022, and the most streamed song on Spotify is Burna Boy's track, It's Plenty. At the 2022 edition of Rap, an annual event by Spotify, which looked at songs, playlists, artists and albums that defined the year in music, Burna Boy's track, It's Plenty, takes the lead. Victor Okwala, Spotify artist and Labour Partnership Manager, West Africa, at the 2022 edition of Rap says Burna Boy was the most globally streamed artist in Nigeria and Sub-Sahara Africa this year. Followed in second place is Ashake with the song Terminator. At number 3, Many Ways featuring Wizkid, BNXN and Flake Juju. Number 4 is Bad to Me by Wizkid, followed by Stand Strong featuring Sunday Service Choir and Davido, which takes the 5th place. Number 6, Peru by Fireboy DML and Ed Sheeran. Number 7, Way Too Sexy by Drake, Future and Young Thug. At number 8 is I'm a Mess by Omale. Number 9, Calm Down by Rema. And number 10, Buga by Kiss Daniel. Marvin Princess Ayo Star is the most streamed female artist in Nigeria for 2022, while Thames has the ultimate vibe among Nigerians' musical export in 2022. Wait For You, the musician collabo with Drake and Future, was the leading Nigeria song export for the year 2022. Share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network.
This is Digivation Network.
Well, I'm a tech guy. I work at a edutech. So in my opinion, we still have a lot of catching up to do in Nigeria when it comes to technology. We're talking about the Internet 3.0, but we've not even solved Internet 2.0. But we're getting there. That's all I can say.
It's moving fast. Over the last decade, so fast. The telephone, at the time it was just rolling and you understand, but now we have the mobile phone and we don't know what even the next year holds ahead or something, but it's just wonderful.
Yes, no doubt about it. Technology is moving so fast. Yes, it's moving so fast. But compared to other Western world, it's moving so fast in Nigeria, but I want them to improve more. Yeah.
Well, all over the world, the technology is moving fast, but in Nigeria it's moving slow. Maybe because of our economy reality or because of our government style of leadership. I believe the technology in Nigeria is not, we are not meeting up to other people, other nations of the world.
It's going so fast. When you compare where we were like a few years ago, now we are talking about 5G network. So I think things are better now.
It's growing so fast. It's growing so fast. You know, when you are talking of mobile phone, when it comes out, we don't know what it's called internet, but they graduate to it. So I think more are coming. Sometimes look at the advancement for this ATM we are using. You know, when sometimes we do go to bank to go and fill form and collect your cash. At the time, ATM machine came out. Now we can see POS everywhere. Collect your money fast and quick. So it's going fast.
In Nigeria, what scares me about technology is fraud and other criminalities attached to technology.
Hey, my worries, I don't really have fear about technology, but the use, I worried about the use. And like this social media, sometimes it's not even news you see you carry. There are news that are good, you carry it. There are incidents that have to be on view to watch, but there are some that don't really mean, especially when somebody like you now can teach somebody and put it on social media, which is not supposed. You understand now? These are the things I think.
Basically, that one day machines will take over, that's all. Yeah, we've seen it in movies, Terminator and stuff, and from the reality of things, it will happen. It will. I just hope it's later, not sooner. Right now, your phones are automated. There is Siri. Siri can do almost anything you want on your device. Siri, play me music. Siri, change my contact info. Siri knows your password, knows your BVN, knows everything about you, basically. So it just has to do with one wrong code, and technology is against you. One wrong code. And then AI is developing and growing in such a way that, I don't know, it's practically alive and learning on its own. So, I don't know. We created them, but let's just admit it, they are smarter than we are at some point.
The excessive use, I think the negative part of it, where maybe somewhere or the other, the minds of people may actually be so much involved in technology that they will forget what nature is really about. We are already, like you see in Lagos now, you really have nature around you, So people will go so much into technology that we forget our interactions with nature. So I believe that's my fear. Personally, I have that fear that a time will come we'll be so much into a loss that we'll forget that God gave us nature in the first place. So
I would rather say privacy. Privacy in terms of data sharing and stuff. So once the security is not compromised, everything is fine with me.
This is Digivation Network.
Thanks for being with us. You are watching Digivation Network. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with stakeholders, launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy on 23 October 2012, with the aim at further reducing the exclusion rate to 20% by 2020. The strategy stipulates that 70% of those to be included in financial system by 2020 should be in the formal sector. Here is a special report of the week. Enjoy it. About 45% of Nigerian adults have a formal bank account, and financial inclusion is low. Several organizations, such as the public and private sectors, are in partnership with each other in an effort to increase financial inclusion across Nigeria. Financial inclusion includes access to a variety of financial products, including savings accounts, credit, pensions, and insurance. The overall financial inclusion target was 80% by 2020. Enhancing financial innovation and access data later shows that only 64% of Nigerian adults were financially included by the end of 2020. This means that 36% of Nigerian adults, or 38 million adults, remain completely financially excluded. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with stakeholders, launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy on 23 October 2012, with the aim at further reducing the exclusion rate to 20% by 2020. The strategy stipulates that 70% of those to be included in financial system by 2020 should be in the formal sector. Although CBN has embarked on various initiatives and policies geared towards accelerating financial inclusion in the country, some of which are launch of National Association Microfinance Banks Unified Information Technology Platform, conduct of targeted financial education program, development financing initiatives, National Pension Commission, Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, among others. However, in a recent development, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) gave a mandate on the cash policy to enable Nigerian monetized flow of cash in the country. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele addresses the new policy of the Naira banknote to deepen, drive, and entrench cashless policy.
Has not been redesigned in the last 20 years. The bank remains resolutely determined to achieve the objective of its mandate as enshrined in Section 2B of the CBN Act of 2007 to ensure a strong and effective legal tender. It is therefore no longer tenable to continue with business as usual, especially given the continually evolving circumstances that could impeach the optimal performance of our Naira. Furthermore, we believe that the redesign of the currency will help deepen our drive to entrench cashless economy, as it will be complemented by increased minting of our e-Naira.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, reiterated the need of convergence and innovation with the CBN involvement to boost financial inclusion in the country.
Between ICT sector on one hand and financial institutions on the other, to the extent that it is becoming difficult by the day to draw a line of demarcation between them. And that is why we had been working in collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria when it comes to their mandate of either e-Naira or any USSD services, as the case may be. And at the same time, they have been collaborating with us whenever we need their intervention in the core mandate of either the ministry, parastatals, or any responsibility assigned to us by our boss and our principal president, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
Pantami explains that increase in population affects financial inclusion growth.
Around 220 years. By 1920 to 1930, 2 billion. But as at 15 November 2022, just this month, the world population reached 8 billion. Look at the population growth from 1920, 1930 to 2022. From 2 billion to 8 billion, an increase over 80 billion within this period. While from first 1 billion in 1880 up to 1920, look at the period. So by implication, the more the population of the world is growing, the more we have a lot to do to ensure that we provide the financial inclusion, financial services to global citizens.
This is why financial inclusion continues to gain momentum in Africa's policy and economic development. And to achieve it, banks need to reach out and engage with prospective customers who have been excluded from the financial system. Will financial inclusion build a stronger use of e-Naira in Nigeria, as countries such as El Salvador and Central Bank Republic has adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender since September 2021? Share and subscribe to this channel, www.youtube.com/Digivation Network. Just before we round off, let us serve you with the top 5 of the week. Stay with us.
Space studies and research in the outer space has always intrigued man. Mankind has a thirst to know what is beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Thus, every nation has set up its own space agencies and research centers. There are numerous of them, but only a few are of high quality, do extreme research, are technologically advanced and well known around the world. So here are the list of top 5 space research organizations in the world. Number 5. Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. Formed in 1969, the Indian Space Research Organization harnesses space technology for national development while pursuing planetary explorations and space science research. They have carried out several major operations on both the national and international levels. The agency maintains a series of multi-purpose geostationary satellites and remote sensing satellites that fulfill the nation's growing demand for telecommunication and Earth observation, respectively. In 2014, they successfully sent a spacecraft to Martian orbit in the very first attempt. The total expenditure for this mission was $75 million, making it the most cost-efficient Mars mission ever. In 2017, ISRO made a world record for launching 104 satellites in one go using PSLV-C-37. Impressed by their progress, the government increased ISRO's annual budget by 23%. The annual budget of ISRO as of 2018 was $1.5 billion. Number 4. Russian Federal Space Agency Roscosmos. Formed in 1992, Roscosmos is a coordinating hub for all kinds of space activities in Russia. It conducts varieties of civilian activities, including astronaut projects and monitoring Earth, and coordinates military launches with the Defense Ministry of the Russian Federation. The new Roscosmos State Corporation is formed by merging the renationalized Russian space industry and the United Rocket and Space Corporation. However, the country's contribution to space technologies long predates this event. Between 1955 and 1965, its former Soviet space program wrapped up many world firsts, including the first artificial Earth satellite named Sputnik 1, the first man and woman in space. Roscosmos was formed in a completely different era, right after the termination of the Soviet Union program. Now the agency provides launch services to other nations and performs various spacecraft missions of its own. Roscosmos is currently working on the ExoMars mission to find evidence of life in Mars. In 2015, it recorded an annual budget of $3.27 billion. Number 3. The European Space Agency (ESA). The European Space Agency was formed in 1975 and is an international organization with 22 member states. By harmonizing the intellectual and financial assets of all members, the agency can manage activities and programs far beyond the scope of any European nation. ESA is one of the major contributors to the International Space Station. Since its inception, it has been actively involved in unmanned exploration missions to the Moon and other planets, telecommunication, developing launch vehicles, and Earth observation. Major recent projects include Venus Express, that is continuously sending data from its polar orbit around Venus, LISA Pathfinder, which is studying gravitational waves, and the James Webb Space Telescope. The agency currently has projects planned for Jupiter and Mercury, and others that will observe the energetic universe and study dark matter. The annual budget of the ESA as of 2018 was $7 billion. Number 2. China National Space Administration (CNSA). China National Space Administration was formed in 1993 and is responsible for planning and implementing all space missions on the national level and signing government agreements related to space research. In 2014, CNSA successfully made the first soft landing on the Moon using its first robotic lunar lander and rover named Chang'e-3. Unlike other space organizations worldwide, CNSA is not involved with ISS. In fact, it has its own small space station. Also, it carries out regular launches by itself using a family of expendable launch systems called Long March. Unlike other space organizations worldwide, CNSA is not involved with ISS. In fact, it has its own small space station. Also, it carries out regular launches by itself using a family of expendable launch systems named Long March. Since 2003, they have conducted many manned space missions, and so far, 11 Chinese astronauts have traveled in space. It has recorded an annual budget of $11 billion in 2017. Number 1. National Aeronautic and Space Administration (NASA). For 6 decades, NASA has led peaceful space explorations, making discoveries about Earth, other planets, solar systems, galaxies, and our universe. It is an independent organization that isn't part of any executive department, but reports directly to the US President. Since its inception, most space explorations efforts have been led by NASA, including the Skylab space station, a partially reusable low-Earth orbital spacecraft named Space Shuttle, and the most popular human spaceflight program, Apollo Moon landing missions. The organization has successfully launched more than 200 manned flights, and they are currently working on more than 70 missions. Some of its greatest missions include Apollo, Viking 1 probe that touched down on Mars in 1976, Chandra X-ray Observatory, and the Voyager 1 and 2, that made numerous important discoveries about Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and rich interstellar space. NASA's annual budget as of 2018 was $20.7 billion. Those are the top 5 space research organizations in the world. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting top 5 videos.
Thanks for being with us so far on the journey. This is Digivation Network with Bayero Agabi.
This is Digivation. Digivision Network.
That's the show for the week. Until next edition of the show, please reach us for details via this platform, www.digivationnetwork.com, or watch us on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/digivationnetwork, or better still, text the number on your screen. Until next week, I remain Omoyei Haza. Bye.